You look at the Holocaust, the things that happened before, and you bring everything forward. Our generation, we look at World War II, and just what you're saying, the people that fought for 4 years, killing or seeing everything, coming home to America, then starting their lives, raising their children, starting businesses, and they all probably had this PSTD that every
PT, right?
military person has today, but they survived. They went through it. They did it themselves. There was no help for these people. Yeah, I think our fathers went to college. The government paid for that, but everything else was, they did it. And our generation, once we were gone here in America, that is lost. And I feel the fact that American kids do not serve any time in the military is just a crisis, because you have no feeling for this country unless you have that. And that's why we always admired the Israelis for
Yeah,
that.
but it's always easy to look at somebody else's story. My question to you is, did you, as a teenager and an adult, ever came to your father and asked him to talk about this period? And I believe that you didn't,
No,
because
Well,
definitely not.
we did not ask. Well,
Not as young kids.
not as
No.
young kids, and his dad passed away. He was 65. So when those questions started to enter our minds, his dad had passed. But my dad, one day, Terry got a hold of him and said to him, "Come on, I have to know something. What's going on? You have nothing to tell me or show me." And the next day he arrived with a box with his medals. And he remembered numbers. What was his?
Yeah, I mean, I knew her father for like 50 years, and after my dad passed, and I knew I didn't get any information out of him. I knew in his closet he had something in his closet that I couldn't go near. It was probably a souvenir he brought back from World War II. So I never knew anything about it. So then Harry, after he retired, he worked for us, and he was in our house a lot, and he would never talk about the war. But once that movie came out with Tom Hanks,
Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan, he saw that movie. He came home. He says, "Terry, I was there."
Day 3.
He wasn't sure what day, but he was there because he was He was in a supply unit. I says, "Harry, please give me some information. Do you remember your battalion number?" At that point, the internet was up and running, and I knew I could find something. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And a couple of weeks later, he comes by with a little white box about this big, and he says, "Put this in your safe or your vault." So I open it up. It's battle medals from different battles in Europe that his company was involved in. So I said, "Harry, come on, what is this?" And he starts, opening his computer in his head, and he told me, some battles they were in. I said, "Do you remember the any number, your battalion number, something?" And he comes up with the battalion number. Bop, 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 bop. After all these years, I run to the computer, I type it in, and after a little research, I find that the company clerk of this company that he was in, in those days they would write, the company clerks, they would type everything that they did. They documented everything. Well, the son of this clerk made these things public. And there was Harry's whole itinerary from the day he left New Jersey, went to basic training in Missouri, got on a train, came back to New York, got on the Ile-de-France, the old French, ship that was converted into it, went across to England, trained there, then went across, about 6 days after D-Day. And he went through all these places in France and Belgium where they had battles. And I some of the battle medals, he told me what they were for. And then he says to me one day, and I'm reading this to him, and like it's bringing back all these memories. He says, "Wait a minute, July 28th, I think 2 of my friends were killed. July 28th, 1940, whatever, or 44, 45. Yes, his battalion came under, and two men were killed. And he says, "Wait a minute!" And he rolls up his pants. He had a shrapnel wound on
On
his
his-
calf,
Yeah,
and he shows this to us.
we
I'm
never
like,
knew this,
I'm like,
never.
we're plotting, and it tells the whole thing. How he go. They sent him to Okinawa, and he says, "Terry, for like a month, I was throwing up over the side of the ship."
He was very bad when it came to
And he never was
seasickness.
on a ship again after
was-
that. So I mean, this was incredible information that we got from him, but it was like 50 years after,
It's